is a CBS 11 News special. The CBS 11 Storm Team, a spring storm survival guide, with CBS 11 Chief Meteorologist Christine Kahanek and CBS 11 Storm Team meteorologists Mike Berger, Julie Bologna, and Jeff Jameson.
From tornadoes to lightning, flooding, hail and high winds, spring storm season is here, and the CBS 11 Storm Team has an important survival guide to help you and your family prepare for the possible weather ahead. Hello, I'm CBS 11's Chief Meteorologist Christine Kahanek. Over the next half hour, we're going to walk you through the dangers of the spring storm season to make sure you and your family are prepared, from tornadoes to flooding, lightning, wind, and hail. But we'll start by talking about one of nature's most violent storms, tornadoes. Every year, there are on average about 1,000 twisters across the United States. They kill dozens of people and cause millions of dollars worth of damage to property. The most ferocious twisters are capable of tremendous destruction. May 11th, 1953, this tornado, still the deadliest in Texas history, hit Waco. 114 people were killed and another 597 were injured. On April 10th, 1979, this tornado carved a path through Wichita Falls. It was part of a day remembered as Terrible Tuesday, when a super outbreak of tornadoes hit the central part of the country from Texas to the Ohio Valley. It was one of the most destructive tornadoes in Texas history. 42 people died. Some 1,700 more people were injured. The third most destructive tornado in Texas history happened in Lubbock on May 11th, 1970. This tornado carved a mile-and-a-half path of destruction around 9 o'clock at night. 28 people were killed, and it's believed that this is the only F5 tornado to directly strike a skyscraper. This F5 tornado struck Gerald, just north of Austin, on May 27, 1997. It was one of 6 tornadoes that formed over central Texas that day. 27 people lost their lives, and an entire subdivision was completely wiped off the map. Texas lies in the heart of what's known as Tornado Alley. We're in Tornado Alley, along with several other states, including Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. This region is climatologically favored for tornado development. The reason? It is in this zone that hot, dry winds can mix with humid air blown in from the Gulf of Mexico. This can cause what's known as a dry line, which can trigger severe storms that spawn tornadoes. Inside these storms, winds coming from different directions collide and create an invisible horizontal spinning effect in the lower atmosphere. Rising air from the thunderstorm then forms an updraft that tilts the rotating air from horizontal to vertical, forming a wide area of rotation that becomes a tornado. Do you know what to do if a tornado is coming at you? You may know what to do if you're in your home, but what about at the office or if you are stuck in traffic in your car? And remember, seconds count. If you're at home when a tornado is approaching, go to an interior room at the lowest level in your home. Usually this is a closet or a bathroom. Bring pillows and blankets to cover your head and shield you from flying debris. Don't waste time opening the windows in your home.
Most tornadoes will open your windows for you. I would use that time to move you and your family to a safe place within the building.
At the office, go to the lowest level and seek shelter in an interior hallway or bathroom. Some businesses, including the airport, and some malls have storm shelters. Find out ahead of time if your office building has one and make a plan for getting there. Similar rules apply for mobile homes, portable buildings, and automobiles. Leave them and go to the nearest strong building for shelter. If you have no other options, lie flat in a ditch, culvert, or storm drain and cover your head. Among the most dangerous places to seek shelter on a highway is under an overpass. Many will remember the night of April 25th, 1994, when this F4 tornado carved a path of destruction across Lancaster. Unfortunately, dozens chose to take shelter under an Interstate 20 overpass to avoid the golf ball-sized hail. All it did was block traffic for miles and put many people in harm's way. The decision to seek refuge under an overpass proved deadly on May 3rd, 1999 in Moore, Oklahoma. 3 people lost their lives in the crook of an overpass. Overpasses offer no real protection. The shape of the city of Fort Worth are improving their tornado warning systems. This year, 5 years after a tornado swept through downtown Fort Worth, the city has completed a $2.8 million overhaul for a new system. 132 new sirens have been placed throughout the city. Many are replacing aging sirens, some of which were put up in the 1950s. It might happen while you're driving, while your kids are outside playing, or maybe even during a trip to Six Flags. Floodwaters can rise quickly across North Texas, and just as fast, they can become deadly. In North Texas alone last year, 10 people lost their lives to flooding. CBS 11 Storm Team meteorologist Jeff has more.
Well, the sad fact is all 10 of those deaths were preventable. You know, the creek we're in right now is pretty quiet, but just a year ago, this creek was flooding over its banks. By now, you've probably heard that flooding kills more people than any other weather-related disaster. Well, the big question is, why? The biggest danger comes behind the wheel. As rain pours down, lower-lying areas can, within minutes, quickly become inundated. Time and time again, we see drivers decide to go around barricades and venture into floodwaters. And more often than not,
they get hurt or they die. And if anything, I tell people, pay attention to those barriers. And by golly, if it's nighttime and you can't see that road clearly, don't drive through flooded waters.
It only takes as little as 18 inches of moving water to float a vehicle and carry it downstream, making it nearly impossible to open the door to escape. Carter and other emergency management officials were kept on their toes last summer when a flooded Johnson Creek made Six Flags look more like Hurricane Harbor. And on that same day, a car in South Arlington stalled in a raging stream and the driver drowned. We want you to remember this phrase, turn around, don't drown. It's the National Weather Service program designed to keep you safe during a flood threat. Here are some life-saving tips to remember. Number 1, find higher ground and evacuation routes. 2, have a full tank of gas and emergency supplies. 3, don't drive into water of unknown depth. And number 4, don't play near swollen creeks or streams. It's that last tip that kids especially need to remember as we get towards summer. 18-year-old Dominique Roberts of Crowley died last year while trying to cross what she thought was a calm creek. Flooding can also attack your pocketbook. If you find your house invaded by high water, any damages or losses are not covered by your homeowner's insurance policy. Considering how wet last year and this winter have been, now is the time to think about buying flood insurance.
Everybody should take stock of where they live. Do you live on a hill? Do you live in a floodplain? Do you have water that builds up even in your driveway? If so, it might be worth getting flood insurance.
The bottom line is that most people are simply not intimidated by floodwaters. We tend to underestimate the power of moving water compared to, let's say, a tornado's destructive wind. But it's time to change our thinking about this top killer of the weather world.
Thanks, Jeff. Coming up next, meteorologist Mike Berger with the number 2 weather killer, and it may surprise you. Plus, we'll take a look at the latest high-tech weather equipment the CBS 11 Storm Team uses to forecast the weather every day. Stay with us.